Kia ora koutou. Welcome to my studio. I'm Lynda Cullen and it's a pleasure to have you here. Kia ora everybody. I'm just going to keep some notes with me because I tend to wander off the subject matter and it's always good to be focused. So excuse me for having this little page of notes. First of all, I really like bright colours, so often the work that I'm attracted to has bright colours, and of course one of my most, desirous works come from Matisse, who is just so amazingly fantastic. So I work with gouache. Gouache is a French word, and it sounds very strange to pronounce, but it's Gouache. And it's a little bit like watercolour, only it has a more solid pigment in it that creates quite a nice hard edge. I know it's used by illustrators quite a lot, and I'm going to be using it, and I do use it with paper mostly. However, futuristically I might decide to look at it on canvas as well. So I thought about the way that I have called, the title is Portal, Pastiche, but I think I'll talk about pastiche first because it's going to inform you of the kind of imagery that we're going to see. And so it's from the Italian word pistachio, which means a pie with a whole lot of different kinds of delectables inside of it. So you could think about a la carte or smorgasbord, where you have a whole lot of different things you can choose and put on your plate, and then you eat those. So I like to think that I have a plate full of really interesting things that you're going to absorb with your eyes. I quite like that idea. So I blend elements from existing works, homages and homage to different artists, and I've mentioned Matisse already, and quite a lot of the artists may be slightly unknown to some people, which I think is really good for introducing people to new artists. So it's a remix and it's intertextual, so there are different texts that are inside of the work that create meanings that will relate to the way you think. So the meaning of the new work is shaped by the artists or the objects that it references. So I've thought of an example might be a Matisse bowl of fruit juxtaposed to, say, a Mary Fedden curtain. Mary Fedden is a UK artist, and she taught David Hockney. And so with the Matisse still life and the Fedden curtain, I may choose then to have something that has come through a portal and has either arrived or just left or is just about to leave the page. And so to do that, I've used ink, and that with no colour, so it indicates that it's kind of a transitional piece. So often it is a domestic item like a chair or a lamp or a window or a table with fruit on it, and you know that most of these are transitional because they have no colour and no substance. And so I'll mention that I mainly focus on European art because that is what I'm most familiar with and most comfortable with, but I do also use ukiyo-e prints from basically the 1800s that were utilised by Van Gogh and other artists. I think it was a way of looking at things that was not linear perspective, and so their eyes were opened in a different way, and they started creating things in ways that had not been experienced with since the Renaissance. And so that's pretty much pastiche, the idea that I am celebrating artists, other artists, and I'm putting them together to create a new way of thinking. So for the portal, a portal for me is a gate or a doorway or a way through somewhere. So for example, it might be the underworld or up into the heavens. The majority of cultures have these two spaces outside of normal human ways of operating, but also just, for example, the internet has come along, in the years since the 90s, and you can just sit in your chair and you can click to go wherever you want to go in the internet. So in some ways that's created portals as well. And I think I've seen the word portal utilised online as well in that as an example. I'd like to just have a little story here where, as a good example, I was in the Nile River Cave on the west coast with a group, and we got to sort of the centre and we turned our little lamps off that we had on our heads, and our bodies just disappeared. There was just sheer black everywhere, and you didn't know where you were in yourself because you couldn't see your body or felt as though you couldn't touch it. And I also then started to think that I wasn't getting enough air, and I was complaining to the guide, and the guide was just, oh, what a lot of rubbish. Honestly, we've got as much air here as we have outside. And so for me, when I saw this most stunning archway, when we got close to the end with the sky and 3 or 4 different colours of green showing and all this black around us, it was like paradise. So this kind of idea of a portal being magic is something that I quite like the idea of. I'll talk about those outlines, which I've mentioned before. I just outline everything that is travelling into or out of the artwork, and that opens the narrative up to creating new meanings and associations also. So I'm kind of messing with art history, if you like, but I'm having fun as well. So in conclusion, I really hope that you create your own meanings from this work, that existing narratives are disrupted, and the idea of a linear art history is kind of shattered, really, because if you think about the whole idea of, well, for a lot of different things, this linear aspect is quite difficult. You have millennia ago the cave drawings at La Salle, then you have hop forward a bit to the Renaissance and linear perspective, and then through the centuries to now. But people are always looking backwards and then moving back forwards again. Things are interchanged. If you think about the new pointillists, for example, like Jonas Wood, the American artist, he's one of the new pointillists, and he integrates other things as well. And we have the new Fauves, we have abstract expressionists and general abstract artists, all have looked at the past and have brought it forward and changed it. So basically in the 60s or the 50s, we had used the body as the art piece. People started using their body in performance art, and even now the body is used in performance with AI as well, artificial intelligence, which is really quite exciting in a lot of ways. I know people are a bit scared of AI, but I think that would be something that will develop. Light, we use light for artworks now, which we had neon lights in the 50s, but there are whole new ways of looking at art using light and all sorts of new ways, and people are using new scientific developments to create their artwork as well. So I think I'll just leave it there, because otherwise I will just be going on and on and on. So do come and have a look at the exhibition, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.